I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times, and I have a new game I want to try out with you two, Natasha and Producer Zach. I don't know what that accent was. Okay, I'm calling this game Over Under, and it's very similar to The Price is Right in that, but it's credit union related. And I'm going to give you a prompt, and you two try to guess the number, but Price is Right rules, so it's closest without going over.
All right.
Okay? All right.
Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah, just
Again.
These are just dumb things I love looking up and doing. Okay,
Sure.
so not all of these are really credit union related. They're just kind of in the universe. Okay, what percentage of Gen Zers has never written a check?
Ooh,
What would you all guess?
I'll go with half.
Okay.
That seems low, honestly.
Yeah, I'd go probably a little higher. Let's say 65%.
Oh, Natasha, you win. 74%.
74. Okay.
Have
Yeah, that's not
never
surprising.
written a physical check in their lives. Okay.
That's funny to me, but it's not surprising.
Not surprising. But to your point, Zach, half, that is the stat for millennials and Gen X. To clarify, half
What?
have not written a check in the past year. For them.
Oh, okay.
That's
in the past year, not ever.
Well, for the Gen Z, it's ever. But
Right.
I could only find these other numbers. It wasn't forever. It was like within the past year.
Yeah.
Gen Z,
Interesting.
74% have never written a check. Baby boomers, 15 to 22% are still writing multiple checks a month.
And I'm
Sure.
pretty sure that includes my parents.
100%.
Yep, mine too. Yep.
Okay. How many Americans, in percentages here still, how many Americans still carry cash? About what percentage of Americans still carry cash?
Oh,
I would say it's pretty high. I'm going to say 70%.
Okay.
I'll go 75%.
Oh my God, Zach, you
Oh.
win. 76%.
Oh, wow. Oh, close too. Yeah.
You guys are doing awesome on this. Yeah, 76% of Americans still carry physical cash. I do not. I kind of wish I did. Do you guys carry cash?
Yeah.
Not a significant amount, but yeah, I always have like $10, $15 on me.
Okay.
I
Natasha?
mean, I don't like specifically go get it for any purpose, but I often will. If
Yeah.
I have it, then it usually just sits there for months in my wallet, and then it's just there.
Okay.
So, and I don't really use it for anything. I'm trying to think of maybe if you're out somewhere like at a festival,
always-
maybe buying.
Yeah.
A lot of those have become cashless now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't even go out to festivals or anything, so it's been a
Yeah.
while. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I will only have two more questions here.
Okay.
This is actually credit union related. What state has the most credit unions headquartered there?
Ooh.
What state has the most credit unions headquartered in that state?
I mean, I want to say maybe California.
Go New York.
Okay, but I realize now that this question is not a closest without going.
Yeah, it's not an
over
over-under, but
so
it's well, is the state over or
I'm a
under on
stupid
the
person.
map? Maybe I don't know.
Okay, New York. I guess in this case, Zach won. New York is third.
Huh.
It is not California, Natasha. So, can you guess? Try to guess the other two. Just
You know,
They're
I'm
big.
not.
They're big.
big
Texas.
states. Texas is number one.
Oh, okay.
392 credit unions are based there.
Wow.
That's a lot. New
That
York,
is
by
a
the
lot,
way,
yeah.
is 278.
Okay. How many is California?
I don't know. I just have the top three.
It's not even on the list. Okay.
No, number two,
cares?
Florida?
Tucker one. No, I would have guessed Florida too. It is the Keystone State, Pennsylvania.
Really? That's
Yeah,
I would not expect that at all.
same.
But
296.
wow.
Okay, way to go,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Okay, last question. This is so dumb, but I just wanted to write it. Okay, as we all know, Navy Federal is the largest credit union in the world. In the 2022 film Top Gun Maverick, the group of pilots are part of an elite flying school thing called in the U.S. Navy called Top Gun. It's a real thing. The movie made $1.49 billion globally. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Here's the question. How much did the production company pay the Navy for use of its aircraft carrier and shooting on board, and also using their planes?
I have no idea. No,
How
I have
much do you
nothing to
think a
even
movie
think.
production company paid the U.S. Navy to use their ships and planes for that movie?
I'm going with 0 because it's considered advertising.
Funny
I was
guess.
almost thinking that too.
That is such a Price is Right guess. That's funny.
I mean,
Natasha,
I don't have anything to compare to this or
if you
even
just
any
say
I don't.
context.
if you just say $1, you win.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, $1.
Okay, Natasha wins. Paramount Pictures paid the U.S. Navy $5 million for their assistance with Top Gun Maverick. The studio was charged, it says here, an hourly rate of $11,374 per jet to use each hour. So,
That
Wow.
honestly seems like a pretty good deal.
you know what? I thought the same thing. I'm like, you guys, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But 0 is a funny guess. Good job, Natasha.
Oh, I'm sure I deserve that. Good job. I mean, come on. I didn't even know that, I didn't even think of that $1 answer being a winning answer. And you had to
Well,
tell me. And then I just
that's what,
repeated you.
you know what?
That's
You're
all I
good friends
did.
with the host here. So there you go.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all for
Advantages.
playing my dumb little stupid game I thought of last night. Everybody else, hey there. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we are talking with Steven Nelson. What a guy. He's my new best friend. He's also executive director of Fuel Solutions, a nonprofit launched by California's, Nevada's, and Utah's credit unions. We first learned about them, it was about a year ago, really. And when we spoke with its original executive director, Larry Palachuk, on the pod. But we are so excited to learn how Fuel Solutions is evolving, is growing, and what Steven has in store for it. You're going to love this guy. First up, got to take a break from the week. Check in with Natasha.
Hey, Em.
How you doing?
Doing good.
Great.
I'm just saying, I'm enjoying hearing your enthusiasm. I feel like you and Steven are like, must be related. There was even one time where he like said something and it almost sounded like it was like the same way that you would say something.
I
trying to think of
know
what
exactly.
it was, but
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
it was
I heard it
hilarious.
too.
Yeah, I love it.
I felt,
Anyway.
honestly, I felt like I was talking to my brother a little bit.
Right.
Just the banter, because he's such a smart aleck in a great way.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to love Steven, really, I promise. Oh, anyway. Hey, I wanted to ask, what have you been watching this past week? Have you been able to watch anything?
Yeah, I actually have. I've caught up on a few movies that I've
Good.
wanted to watch that finally popped up on streaming since
Yeah.
I have not made it to a theater in, gosh, many years, I think,
Okay.
at this point.
Yeah.
So one that I was like so excited when it finally was available on, what was it? Gosh, Prime. I think Prime, yeah. Was Project Hail Mary.
What did you think?
Oh, I loved it. I enjoyed it. As you know, as I've probably mentioned before
Yeah.
on the podcast, I really enjoyed the book. It was probably my favorite book I read during the whole like COVID period.
Yeah, I remember
doing
you
lots of
gushing
reading.
about it. Yeah.
Loved it. Loved it. I would say I still love the book more than the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I was really impressed by how they did everything. It was a really complicated details in that story that would be difficult to recreate visually. So I was really impressed. It was just funny to me because reading the book was just so entertaining and almost like heartfelt and, engrossing. And the movie, I feel like if you were to just see the movie without reading the book, you would think, oh, this is like a silly alien buddy movie, or it just had an element of like, oh, this is like a fantasy, or it's just kind of a little on the cheesy side, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. But I still enjoyed it because I just love that story. And I was so curious to see how they would adapt it. And it was a fun time.
So I also very recently watched it. I was fortunate enough to be asked to go to London.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I was there most of the week, I guess it's been a couple of weeks now, but on the flight home, I watched, I was like, oh, Natasha's movie, so I thought I need to watch this. I had the best time watching that on the airplane. I didn't know anything about the book, nothing about the story. I was like,
oh, wow.
Ryan Gosling, you're a national treasure.
Right.
He was so good, but it does get cheesy. It's like 20 minutes too long.
Yeah, it drags a bit. Yeah.
But holy crap, was that a fun airplane movie. I just had the best time.
Yeah.
And, 2.5 hours went right by. It was great.
And was it on your phone or was it on a
No, it was
screen?
on the screen in the back.
Okay, that's better. Yeah, it seems like it'd be an odd one to watch on a small little screen.
No, I wouldn't have watched it, honestly, if it was like that. But I had a great time with it. So I do need to read the book. But again, I thought of you while watching it going, oh, crap, I need to do this so I can kind of catch up with you on that. So
yeah,
great movie.
Oh yeah, very fun, very fun. And have you watched anything else related to it? Because I went and watched. It was like an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and then with the author.
Really?
They were all doing a podcast together.
Oh, that's funny.
Discussing it, and that was funny.
No,
yeah, it's fun to dive into the science part of it. I guess, but,
I mean, it seemed pretty wild and real nerdy. It's a great story. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I just wrote, now that's a fun movie. That was my review.
Very true. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's fun. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the interview.
Yep.
So yeah, I also had a great time meeting Steven. I felt like just our conversation with him, he was very, I would say, just like so refreshing and like funny too. Yeah. And I love those types of interviews where, you can just kick back and they're just keep it real. And
it was honestly like we had known each other for like 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just like, zoop, he fit right in and I loved it.
I know. So anyway, that was great about it. But as far as the content, he obviously, he caught us up on Fuel Solutions, which he described very well as essentially a CUSO for credit union leagues, which I appreciated that description. And he talks about, what he's been doing since he was named executive director there on January 1st.
Yep.
Because now they're just working with the leagues in California, Nevada, and Utah, but they do have plans to expand nationally. So it's exciting to see what they'll be doing.
Yeah.
He also gave what I thought was some good insight into the history and the purpose of just the credit union league in general, because he also worked at a credit union, and he said how you may not even think about the league existing when you're just in a credit union. And then when you're at the league, you think, oh, this is the center of the credit union universe, kind of those different perspectives. But he kind of ties all that together well, which was interesting. And then finally, as we were getting to know him at the end of the interview, we learned some really cool information about how credit unions are truly a family affair for him.
Oh,
and you'll find out why.
1,000%.
Yes. So we have all that coming up next. Joining us in the virtual studio today is Steven Nelson. He is the Executive Director for Fuel Solutions. Hey, Steven, welcome to Shared Accounts.
Hello, it's so nice to be here.
Great to have you.
Steven, I already love your attitude. I love this.
Good.
Yeah. Well, it's good timing because I know we first heard about and covered Fuel Solutions on the podcast. I think it's exactly a year ago when it launched. So this will be, really nice to get an update. But first of all, welcome, Steven. We haven't had you on the pod before, so welcome. We wanted to just find out a little bit more, I guess, about you, just to kind of kick off. So it looks like you've been with the league system, starting with Utah, and then kind of now encompassing all 3 of the leagues that are connected out here with California and Nevada for about 17 years.
Well, I think somebody gave you wrong information. It's longer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
I've been back in the league system for about 17 years.
Oh. So how long is it total?
Yeah, so I started in credit unions in the summer of 1998. I did an internship at the Utah League of Credit Unions at the time. And then I got full time there. I started about the Monday after Y2K.
Oh.
So I was there for 6 years, and then I worked at a credit union for 3, and then I've been back for about 17 years.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You brought it up, Y2K. How much duct tape did you buy ahead of that?
I didn't buy any duck, but you know what I did have? I had all these little 72-hour kits that we kept around, with like ramen noodles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a boss.
Macaroni and cheese, stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a boss at the time who was like, I mean, she wasn't a crazy person, but Y2K really did her in. And she was buying all this tarps and duct tape and survival kits. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It was crazy times. Like, we were worried the world was going to end.
Wild time.
Yeah.
Truly. Okay.
Well, yes. Anyway, not 17 years, Natasha, like 26 or 27.
Okay. All right. Well, I love that story though about the Y2K. I could just picture. I wasn't working yet. I think I was. What was I still in high school? I guess wrapping up high school. But all the computer stuff, having to change the date or go like line by line in these old systems. Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm glad that everything was okay. But aside from that, could you just tell us a little bit more about kind of your whole tenure with the league system? I mean, obviously, probably lots of changes with the world and everything really over that long period of time. I guess what would you say when you reflect back on that tenure, how long this whole period at the leagues, what have been some of the biggest changes, I guess, that have taken place either with the leagues or even just in the credit union system?
Well, there's tons of changes. The leagues, I would say leagues are very different animals than they used to be and had to change considerably over the years. The leagues that I'm a part of, California, Nevada, Utah, have had to shrink dramatically in staffing size as we've experienced pressure on income. So, as you shrink staffing, you have to make choices about what is most important and, what you change, which I think relates a little bit to the big changes that have taken place in the industry generally. There's just this diversification of the industry it's just been a huge thing. I suppose that I wasn't around 50 years ago, but I suppose that back then most credit unions were very similar, as far as their product offerings and their size. And as time has passed and the industry has developed, the interests and needs and characteristics of the industry players has diversified quite a bit, And so it's like if you had a bell curve of what credit unions are like. It used to be a fairly narrow bell curve.
Yeah.
I feel like it's elongated, quite a bit. So like the standard deviation of what a credit union is like has been extended quite a bit in the, certainly in the last 25 years since I began. So lots of change.
To kind of set up the whole conversation here, again, like Natasha mentioned, it's been about a year since we've talked about Fuel Solutions. Can you give us kind of a very brief, like, what is Fuel Solutions? What is its purpose?
Yeah. Fuel Solutions is basically, I assume most people that listen to this are familiar with the term CUSO. Yep. It's basically a CUSO for leagues. We're owned and run by the California, Nevada, and Utah leagues. And our purpose is to help state leagues stay independent. So we support advocacy, but we also provide non-advocacy services to credit unions through their leagues. So I term this credit union affairs. You have like governmental affairs.
Yep.
That's all the advocacy stuff. And then we've got all the non-advocacy services that leagues provide credit unions. And I'm calling that credit union affairs. And so that's the focus of Fuel, is to provide credit union affairs to the credit unions through their leagues on behalf of their leagues. So we're not really trying to build the Fuel brand among credit unions. We want credit unions in our leagues to think of us as an extension of their league.
Okay.
Sure.
They probably need to know we exist because there are names going to be on invoices and whatnot. But beyond that, we want credit unions to be like, oh, Fuel is just the league. Yeah. So we're just the credit union affairs arm of the leagues that we help.
All right, great.
Okay. Yeah, I like that description of a CUSO for leagues. It just made me wonder, actually, are there any others like that, like in the country? What you would call a CUSO for leagues?
Yeah, there's some efforts around. Leagues are talking about it. There's some folks up in, I think Wisconsin and Minnesota and maybe Montana that are working on something called the Tri-State Collaborative. It's a good effort. And just last week, I spoke with some other leagues on the Eastern Seaboard about what we're doing, and they were interested in it. And we're like, maybe how do we do something similar? So, I mean, it's a topic among leagues.
Sure. Okay, cool. That's very cool. Well, let's talk more about you and kind of your role now as executive director. So how long have you been appointed as executive director of Fuel Solutions?
January 1st was the first
Okay. So it's about half a year. Okay. Yeah, just tell us, so upon taking the role, what kinds of things were you seeing? Like, what was already working well for this organization? And then what are some things that you've been working on that you felt were maybe challenges or things that needed to change or be added to the venture?
Good question. So I was new to this position on the 1st of January, but I've been involved with Fuel since the beginning. So I've been kind of engaged in the process from the start. And so I've kind of been able to observe, is my point in saying that. I did have a point. But what I think was going well is that our boards, the board of directors for Fuel Solutions, it's made up of 3 board members from each, the California, Nevada, and Utah League. So 9 board members on Fuel. So they govern Fuel, and they're committed to it. They're committed to the idea of what Fuel is and believe in it and feel like it's the right way for the leagues to proceed. And so that has always worked well from the beginning. And coming on board, we've got just a great team of people. So my direct reports, the VPs that report to me, Carla Davis in marketing communications and Amanda Mertz over credit affairs, just really outstanding people, smart, skilled. And in fact, I could name everybody in the organization because I just love working with all of them. And so I think we've got a great team that is working well.
Okay, Stephen, I'll interrupt you really quick. Let's name all the people in the organization from your favorite to least favorite. Go.
Well, let me start with.
Let's start some real drama.
And then do your board the same.
You're
I'm kidding.
A cruel person.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Make it a MySpace top 8, if anyone remembers that. Yeah.
MySpace.
But then also, I work very closely with the league presidents. So Rusty Cannon at the Utah League.
Yeah.
Jeremy Empel in California. Sharp guys, super to work with, and they are really great advocacy professionals. So the people, I guess you could say, are what I think is going really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you a bit about you, because the reason we really dig the show and doing the show is meeting people like you, getting to know you, the stuff you're dealing with, the stuff you're fixing, and what you're thinking about. How has your day changed since taking on this role? Even just not only work, but your family. I know you got a busy life. You got a wedding coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping plan. Not for yourself, but I'm just saying, how has your life changed is what I'm asking.
Well, the focus was different. Before this role, I was Chief Advocacy Operations Officer, and I did that function for the California, Nevada, and Utah leagues. So the focus has shifted. I was in advocacy. Now I'm in credit union affairs, right?
Okay.
And so just where my head is at is a little bit different. So we've made some changes internally to our structure to try and align a little more closely to that delivery of the credit union affairs. And I spend a lot of time thinking about how we drive value for credit unions that find value in non-advocacy services of leagues. So like the leagues do advocacy. Rusty and Jeremy in their respective leagues are focused on advocacy, and the non-advocacy stuff I'm in charge of for those leagues, right? And making sure that credit unions feel good about the non-advocacy services that they're receiving from their leagues.
Yeah. So what are you spending most of your time on, do you feel?
Oh, most of my time. It feels like I'm in meetings a lot. Yeah.
Oh,
sure.
That sucks. Sorry.
Well,
right.
There's questions, like how much of what a league does should be advocacy versus non-advocacy. It's a very high-level question.
That's a good question.
I think every league board and every league president and team of staff members has to answer is how much of what we do should be advocacy and non-advocacy, credit union affairs stuff. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about that because that's one of the prime opportunities for us in Fuel is to make sure we're delivering the right non-advocacy services that get the most bang for the buck as far as dues dollars are concerned. And so we're working on that. We continue to deliver all of the stuff we've been doing before, but we're thinking about the future and what are the right things to deliver to our credit unions.
Nice.
Right.
There was a little bit of confusion when Fuel was first formed, among some companies. Like, oh, all the non-advocacy stuff has been removed from the league. The league doesn't do, credit union affairs anymore, which is just not correct, right? The league still does it, but it's just outsourced to this organization that it owns and controls to provide it at scale across multiple states.
Yeah.
So all those services are still being delivered to credit unions. Just the mechanism is a little different.
Okay. Well, and I'd like to get more into advocacy a little bit with you in a bit here, just with also your background working in it there at the league. What, I guess, would you say, let's just focus on, I guess, the non-advocacy then part. Like, first of all, what does that consist of exactly? Like, what are some specific services and things that fall in that bucket?
Well, there's a couple really broad categories. One of them is we have a Credit Affairs department, and there's two teams in that department. One of them is leadership and professional development. So I've concocted this story in my head that back when credit unions and leagues were brand new, the first job of leagues was advocacy, to go out and get laws passed in states to allow credit unions to exist. Once the law was passed, then they went around to all the local teachers unions and the businesses and the factories and were like, hey, you should have a credit union. And they were like, sure, great idea, credit union. We'll have a credit union, but we don't know how to run it. You're going to have to teach us how to run it. And so leagues became, from the beginning, a source of training and education for credit unions.
Wow.
And so and today that manifests itself in leadership and professional development. And so we've got training programs and leadership development programs and online courses. That's one whole category of stuff that leagues provide to their members. And that's the leadership and professional development team. The other team is the credit union advisory team, is what we've called it. And their job is to solve problems for credit unions, operational problems or informational problems, and provide resources. One of the really huge pieces of that is compliance support. So credit unions have lots of questions about compliance, and they want to be able to call somebody or email somebody and get answers, or have a place where they can look it up or get training on the latest really fun regulation that's been passed. So that's a big part of it.
I'm sure.
Credit unions also, they want resources to help them operationally, and so they'll reach out to the league and ask for help on those. Lots of stuff like that. Is that a helpful answer?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I really think the historical tidbit was really interesting. It sounds like they wouldn't even exist without the leagues, because they needed to know everything administrative and how to run it and operationally. And that's what the leagues were providing back then, and still now providing valuable, services. That's really interesting to me. Just as a follow-up, I'm curious now, so looking at California, Nevada, and Utah, and kind of what Fuel Solutions is doing for all of them, are there any differences from state to state at all that you feel that those leagues need more than the other in any way?
Are there differences? Boy, are there differences.
Well, yeah, if you look at the states themselves. Sure.
Well, that's the funny thing. I mean, I'd say that jokingly. Each state definitely has its own personality and its own flavor of credit unions. But that's one of the reasons why we kind of, as we were concocting the idea of Fuel Solutions, we were like, what things can leagues collaborate on in a reasonable way without sacrificing the most important things? And we were like, well, credit unions are very similar from state. Their operational needs are very similar from state to state. So as we think about being able to provide support to them, that could scale very well across multiple states. And so that's why we took the credit union affairs portion out of leagues and left advocacy there. Advocacy has a very high affinity for state boundaries, like congressional districts are drawn inside the state and the legislatures function inside the state. And so they're kind of unique and need a lot of attention. But the operations of credit unions are very similar across the board. And so that's why we put that part of the operations into Fuel Solutions. So,
of course, yeah.
Things like training, more and more training is being delivered electronically, online. Mm-hmm. And that's really good at crossing state boundaries. And it can be delivered very easily across multiple states. And so that's an example of how we're trying to find efficiency in that. Rather than having a person record 3 webinars and each one is sent out to its state, we're just recording it once and sending it to all 3 states. So.
Right.
Can I go back to Y2KU for a bit? Because, you talked about, what was the credit union you started in?
The credit union, I worked first at the Utah League of Credit Unions, and then I worked at Heritage West Credit Union in about 2009. Okay. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the experience, in those early days, and kind of really how you ended up getting into credit unions?
I was going to school at the University of Utah. That's where I got all my book learning.
Okay, great.
My very first.
Again, I love your attitude towards this whole thing. You and I might be related. So.
I have some good friends who are Ogdens. Maybe I got it from them.
Oh, maybe.
in 1998, so like spring semester 1998,
Sure.
I was at the U and I was in a class for public relations. That was one of my undergraduate degrees, was public relations. And the teacher stands up, and I can't remember her name, but she had this piece of paper, and she's reading it, and there's this place, it's the Utah League of Credit. It's got some internship for PR, and if you're interested in doing PR as a career, maybe you should apply for the internship.
Okay.
And so I applied, and I was one of 2 people who applied, is my understanding. And I interviewed, and the other person interviewed, but the other person apparently disappeared, never responded to any other outreach. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Okay.
So by default, I got the internship with the Utah League of Credit. And that was right after HR 1151 passed. So
how convenient.
Yes, very convenient.
Disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk. How did all of that experience? You basically jumped right in. You didn't know what the hell it was. So
what's a credit union?
Exactly. So what work or experience did you gain there that's still helping you today?
Well, I'm thinking now. I have to think.
I mean, you got thrown right into it. You've learned, the cooperative values, obviously.
Yeah.
The influence that your bosses had on you. I always like to think about our life is in context all the time. Our past reflects today,
Sure. Well, it was interesting, to work to my first exposure to the industry being through a league, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gives you this notion of the league is the center of the credit universe.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to be caught in that frame of mind at the league. And so I did, 6 years later, I went and worked for credit for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was kind of surprising to me when I was working at the credit union that I almost never had anything to do with the league, And it was kind of eye-opening to me that maybe, just maybe, the league is not the center of the universe.
Okay.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Which, kind of informs where I'm at today. I still would like to believe that the league is the end all and be all of credit union industry, but I know that it's not. And it's really easy to forget that maybe somebody in a credit union doesn't have time to read every email that the league sends out.
Sure.
Or, they're not thinking about, well, I haven't heard from the league for the last 24 hours. What is going on? And so there's a lot going on at credit unions, and we're just one piece of that. It's important for us to remember.
Very important.
Right. That perspective. Yeah. Well, it sounds like a good path. And I guess one thing I was thinking of when you got into the space originally, into the league, you're still in the credit union space today. So how, what was it? Was there anything about it that hooked you, that you liked especially, or that worked out about it? Because you must have liked it somewhat if you've stuck around this long.
The correct answer, of course, is that I just loved the idea of people helping people, which I liked. But I really mostly liked that I was getting a paycheck on a consistent basis.
Of course. and you know how to disappear people.
Yes. We're not going to talk about that. Right?
Okay.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't the career I intended, right?
Sure.
I didn't think, I'm going to get into credit unions.
Yeah.
Well, you get in and you're getting that consistent paycheck, so that's nice. And you can buy a house after that or something,
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of stick around because you start to meet people and you like the people.
Right.
And they're nice to you and you try and be nice back and you build this network and these relationships. And at some point you're maybe like, well, should I leave the industry? And you're like, well, I would look at all the people I would leave behind, all the connections that I would lose. Or I don't know if you lose them, but certainly they're not as strong, And so you stick around and over time you start to drink the Kool-Aid and you really buy in and you're like, yeah, this is a pretty dang good industry. There are good people. We do good things. And I am absolutely a believer in the purity and the integrity of the credit union mission.
Yeah.
And the philosophy of credit unions. And I've seen people who don't use credit unions and who've been taken advantage of by payday lenders or by banks or whoever. And I'm like, they could have been better for them, and it's good to be part of that industry.
Yeah. I really appreciate that answer. And I'll say, I don't think we've met anyone who's said, oh yeah, I wanted to work in credit unions since I was since birth. I don't know.
The only people that might be true for are people whose parents worked in credit unions.
Maybe. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, no, I love that answer. Okay, let's just go back to Fuel Solutions again one more time. What about like what's next at Fuel Solutions? Does it have any like specific future goals, new projects that are coming up that you'll be working on? Going into the remainder of this year into 2027. What's kind of the plan?
We want to serve. I don't think it's a secret. We would like to serve as many state leagues as possible, right? And so we are preparing for that. We recognize that not every state league is going to choose to use us, and we may not be a fit for every state league, but we at least want to be well positioned to have that conversation when those leagues are ready for it. And so what does that look like? How do we become prepared for that? I believe very firmly that we need to have the right infrastructure and engines in place to deliver products and services across multiple states in a very efficient manner. We're working on building this infrastructure and building these processes and these systems that will allow us to deliver things to leagues as if it were by the league, but very efficiently across multiple states.
Okay. I like that. And speaking of that really quick, kind of my last question on this part of the interview, on serving the leagues and the needs, what are you learning that really credit unions need from their state leagues in terms of support? And you've talked a bit about it already, from day to day to just, I don't know, all the advocacy help, but what are you seeing that they are really, really needing?
What do credit unions need from their leagues?
Yeah.
That's a give me just one moment to think about that.
No problem.
So just about every credit union wants help with compliance. I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
And we've always had compliance hotlines and compliance services, and it's really easy for people to make the mistake and they go, that's like the small credit unions that need that. But in actuality, what I've seen is that larger credit unions are very often very heavy users of compliance resources and compliance help.
Yeah.
And they don't always realize, like it's a couple people removed from the credit union president, and the credit union president doesn't realize how many times their BSA compliance officer is calling the league for a tip or something like that.
Sure.
So compliance is a huge one. Another one is, I really think that almost everybody wants to feel connected to the industry and to talk with people from other credit unions, find out what's going on in other shops, ask their questions, kind of have a place to be a sounding board. And I think that's true of just about everybody at every credit union. And so connection to the industry as a whole is super important and something that I think the leagues can really help credit unions with. It's really pronounced in smaller credit unions. At a larger credit union, they have a team of executives who are thinking on a high level about challenges and issues. And so they can have this group of people they can consult with built in. And at a smaller credit union, it's much harder. You've got maybe a CEO and people that are running the day-to-day stuff. And the CEO is trying to think high level, big picture, long term, and sometimes doesn't have anybody to talk with at the credit union about that.
Yeah.
And so having this network of peers that they find through the league where they can go to them and talk about, here's my high level ideas. What do you think? Or what are you doing? It can be incredibly helpful and valuable for credit unions. So
really, really well put. I mean, again, it's that cooperative structure that I just adore about this industry, and we all get to lean on each other when we need to.
Yeah. And I think that's super valuable for the league to provide that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, some of those, I think events are really valuable. Those, even like the young professional networks through some of the leagues. Yep. Yeah, I think very, very valuable, especially if you have that small staff that isn't planning all kinds of stuff and, doing big get-togethers or whatever. Yeah, definitely valuable. Okay, well, now let's go ahead and move on to part 2 of our interview.
Yep.
Change the subject a bit and just get to know more of you. So let's get started with that. So first question, wanted to ask more about, I know you have a big kind of roots in Utah, college there and everything. Tell us again, now, is that where you were born and raised, or is that where are you from originally?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Salt Lake area, grew up in a town called West Valley.
Okay.
So and now I live about 30 minutes west of Salt Lake City in Tooele County, in the beautiful valley. Next valley.
Okay.
Over.
Would you say that's your favorite place in the whole state of Utah, or do you have another favorite place that you would say is?
My favorite place, this is going to sound terrible, Not terrible, but like contrived.
Okay.
It's wherever my wife is. That is absolutely.
Oh,
but you're not. That's not the kind of answer you're looking for. Like,
you know what? Sappy is pretty great. Seriously,
wherever she is.
Yeah.
So she's at home right now. She works for a credit union actually. So that's my favorite.
Oh, which credit union?
Deseret First Credit Union. Yeah.
Okay, and what's her name?
Liesel. Her name is Liesel.
Liesel, we love you. We're so happy for your husband and your family.
Yeah, that's kind of it. But as far as cool places, Utah has a lot of cool places. Yeah. So like I was thinking about it. There's the Uintas. Uintas is a mountain range in the eastern edge, northeastern part of the state, and it's an east-west range, which is unusual for mountain ranges, but great places there. The mountain peaks up there are fun to be on. You got great views of the valleys and beautiful place. But then way down south, on the southeastern edge, there's a place called Coyote Gulch, which is it's this like narrow slot canyon-y type place. We went there maybe 5-10 years ago with my daughters and went down into this narrow ravine and hiked through it over a day or two. And
wow.
Jacob Hamblin Arch is a super cool arch. In the morning before we left, there were these group of scouts that were rappelling hundreds of feet.
Oh my God.
Rappelling right down this arch. It was a really cool place. That's a cool place.
That sounds amazing.
Sure. Lots of beautiful, outdoors. I'm sure it's great there. I haven't been, but now I must ask one quick follow-up. So with two parents working in credit unions, have your kids expressed any desire to work in credit unions?
Well, as chance would have it, my oldest son works for Firefighters Credit Union.
Oh, wow.
In Utah. And it's a great credit union, about $60 to $70 million in assets.
Yeah.
He's kind of a loan officer, account service rep person there. And it's a great place for him. He's found a really good spot there.
That's awesome.
And
that is awesome. Yeah.
Each of my daughters has also worked at credit unions at one point. So,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so it's a whole. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard that before, but like, literally a family, a credit union family.
Yeah. A few years, like 2 years ago, there were 4 of us working in credit unions, and the credit union, the annual meeting, the big conference we got, we all took a picture together on the stage because it was the real credit union family.
Oh, how cute. This. Oh my gosh.
I like that. That is
amazing.
A lot.
Love it.
That's fun.
Okay, going back to Summer Steven of your youth.
Oh boy.
What was your favorite summer job or activity you did as a teen?
Well, those are 2 very different things.
They are 2 different things.
That is true, yeah.
So let's split it into, did you have a cool summer job or one you just detested, maybe?
No, I didn't have a cool job. I didn't have one I loved. When I wanted money and my parents wouldn't give it to me, which was most of the time, they would say, well, go take the lawnmower around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Mow people's lawns. And so I did that a little bit and mowed my grandma's lawn. She just lived one street over. And so helped me out a little bit.
Thanks, Grandma. Okay. Well, then what did you do? What did Summer Steven do?
Probably sat around and played video games. Yeah.
What video game?
Well, back then it was, the NES, the old Nintendo. And so I had a long running list of all the video games that I'd beaten. And I was very proud of that.
Okay.
Yeah, but as a family, our favorite thing to do, we liked to take trips down to Disneyland. And maybe every other year, we'd come down. We had some relatives that lived nearby, and we could stay in their house. And so it was a pretty cheap vacation for us. We liked to come down to Disneyland. So
all right. Video games in Disneyland.
Perfect life.
Sounds like a nice life to me.
Dude, you got it made. Yeah.
Yeah. Fast forward to present day. What's something unique, like an item, I guess, that we could always find either on your desk, like while you're working, or maybe, I don't know if you travel for work quite a bit, something you bring with you. What's something unique that you like always have with you? I know, kind of a weird question. I thought of it because we had recently interviewed Jeremy, your CEO, and he had this like little pin that represented small credit unions and some campaigns they did back in the day. That was kind of cool.
Okay.
anything.
I am. He's a much more thoughtful person. For me, like on my desk back in Utah, I've got a spinning top. Do you remember the movie Inception?
Oh, yeah.
A top like that I spin every now and then. Spin it up. That's kind of fun. And I always travel with earplugs. Like in the hotel room, I sleep much better when I've got earplugs in.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Sleep is very important to me.
1,000%.
So we should have had him on. We did a whole episode last summer about travel and how to stay healthy while traveling and tips. So anyway, maybe if we do another
I don't know if I can help with that, but I at least know how to get a good night's sleep.
Okay, good.
Well, that is part of the health. So yeah.
True.
Okay, back to young you.
Oh, I'm getting dizzy.
I know. Sorry about this. I love this is one of my favorite questions. What we always ask all of our guests: what was the first album, cassette, CD you ever bought or remember listening to?
Well, I remember as a kid sitting around with a blank tape, just with the record button hit and the pause button, just waiting, listening to the radio so I could record the song when it came on. I think probably Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller was one I was hunting for.
Okay.
Nice.
I remember that one. One of the first albums I bought was probably Hysteria, Def Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the first concerts I went to in high school. Def Leppard concert back in the day.
Okay, hold on. That would have been 80, 90?
Well, yeah, I graduated in 93 from high school.
Okay.
So, yeah, like 90 to 93-ish.
Yeah, because Pyromania was the one before that.
Yep, you got it.
Great album. Hysteria, where'd you see him? In Salt Lake?
Yeah, Salt Lake. I think it was at the Delta Center. The Delta Center was a new building for the Utah Jazz to play in. And yeah, I was not close to the floor. There were people who would be down on the floor. I was not there. But that reminds me, I have been on the floor at a concert just recently. So like you didn't ask for this, but you're getting it.
I want it. Yeah.
About the year between my kids were a junior and a senior in high school. I was like, you guys need to learn how to do a road trip. So you and I, just the two of us, are going to go on a road trip.
Okay.
And you get to choose. We'll do anything you want within about a day's drive.
Okay.
And so my youngest child was like, we're going to go to a Coldplay concert in Phoenix.
Okay.
And so we bought these tickets. We're down there. We get there hours early and we're all right. I could have hawked a Logie on Chris Martin. We were so close. So
cool.
It was awesome. That concert was just amazing.
That was a huge tour. I mean, just a massive tour. I'm kind of torn on. I wish you would have talked to Logie on him. I'm a little back and forth on that one, but
yeah. The funny thing is, they stopped the concert to record a video for one of the songs.
Yeah.
They start recording this video for this song. It was really fun.
That's great. Good job, Dad. That's being a good dad, everybody.
Good memories.
Sound like a good
kids.
dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Every one of those kids chose something that was perfect for their personality.
I love that.
We loved them. Had a great time with everyone.
So good.
Love it. Okay, so final question now before we wrap this up. Whiplash you back to the present. What was the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched in theaters was Disclosure Day.
Oh yeah. Oh, what'd you think?
2 thumbs up. Don't if you haven't seen it and you haven't heard anything about it, just go see it. Don't watch any previews, nothing like that.
Okay.
Just go see it without any context going in.
I heard Emily Blunt is really, really great in it.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't seen it yet. I kind of missed it. I was traveling when it was out, so now it's not in theaters here.
Okay.
I'm
planning to watch it.
Great.
Yeah, I was going to watch it. So cool. Okay. Well, Stephen Nelson, Executive Director for Fuel Solutions, thank you for coming on the show today. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a great time. I'd love to come back on anytime you like. We can talk more weird stuff.
Sounds great.
We'll absolutely do that. I really loved having you on this, Stephen.
Yes, the weirder the better.
Yes.
Okay, and on that note, to all of our listeners, thank you for downloading today's show. Please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times and all the normal podcast places, and please share our episodes with everyone you know, coworkers, friends, family members who work at credit unions, who don't work at credit unions. Actually, share more with the ones who don't work at credit unions, so they can hear what they're like.
The members of Def Leppard, Chris Martin, whomever.
There you go. Yeah.
Feel free to rate us 5 stars. We love that. As always, thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next time for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening.